The Wedding Day by Catherine Alliott. Narrated by Caroline Doughty. Chapter 1. So you don't think she'll mind? I asked again, coming back to the breakfast table with 2 slopping mugs of coffee. I handed him one. Annabelle, for the last time, I know she won't mind. David reached for a piece of kitchen towel and carefully wiped the bottom of his mug before setting it down. That house stands empty for months on end, for heaven's sake, except when she deigns to pop in for a week or 2 in September. She'll be delighted to have the place occupied. She always is. And you won't mind, us going? I perched on a chair opposite him in my threadbare blue dressing gown, cradled my mug in my hands, and peered anxiously at him over his propped-up newspaper. You'll be here all on your own, David, for the whole summer. Well, most of it anyway. Be awfully quiet. With a sigh, he folded the Times carefully into quarters, laid it aside, and smiled. I'll cope. He reached across my rickety old pine table, laid his immaculate Hilditch and Key shirt sleeve in the crumbs and detritus of breakfast, and squeezed my arm. I've coped on my own for the last 30-odd years. What makes you think I'll forget how to boil a kettle now? Or go out with my underpants on back to front, perhaps? And with the best will in the world, Annie, it's not as if your culinary skills are keeping me from wasting away, either. I think I'll survive. Incidentally, speaking of things culinary, there's a terrible pong in this kitchen. Dropped my arm and sniffed the air cautiously. Emanating, I think, from those Waitrose curry cartons you so lovingly decanted our supper from last night. They're not still lurking about somewhere, are they? He looked around suspiciously. It would be rather marvellous, I went on abstractedly, gazing at a small patch of sunlight on the wall above his left shoulder, dimly aware that my eyes were shining, but that I couldn't help it. And just what I need right now, nearly 2 months of peace and quiet to finish this wretched book, and by the sea, too, and without, well, shopping to do and beds to make and the telephone ringing constantly and your bloody sister popping round every 5 minutes. Yes, I agree. We've been through this a million times, Annie. Take the house in Cornwall and finish the wretched book and get it over and done with. He grinned and propped up his newspaper again, gave it a vigorous shake. Go on, bog off. And we'll get married the moment I get back, I said, putting my mug down decisively. And we'll get married the moment you get back, he repeated from the depths of the broadsheet. In the church at the bottom of Cadogan Street. You know, the one that we were going to look at. Bully the vicar into letting us use it, even though we don't live around there. Offer him, I don't know, money for the church roof or something. He ground his teeth just perceptibly. In the church at the bottom of Cadogan Street, corruptible vicar permitting, yes. And only because Mum was cheated out of the church bit the first time around and would love it so, and— Look, he interrupted, shaking his paper again irritably. We've been through this 100 times, Annie. We've been through the unsatisfactory nature of your charmless wedding to your faithless husband, and the not unreasonable demands of my future mother-in-law for church nuptials, the second time around, and I've said yes. Please don't make me tread on hot coals again, he implored plaintively. And Flora would love it too, I mused, picking up my plate and drifting absently to the sink, stacking it high on top of an already tottering pagoda of dirty dishes. The wedding, being a bridesmaid, all that sort of thing. He caught my wrist suddenly as I floated back and kissed the palm of my hand hard. In a swift movement, he'd drawn me down onto his lap. Yes, she would, he murmured, kissing me purposefully on the mouth. Now stop it. We've agreed. You go to Cornwall. You take my dippy aunt's house, if it hasn't already been washed away by the sea, and you finish your book.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?